Hi everyone, it's Lehman with Lace Covered Skies. I'm here doing this voiceover right now because I was supposed to include footage of a vlog of me going to an estate sale where I found these doilies, but somehow I lost that footage. So what you see here is me showing you what I found at that estate sale. I didn't find very much, just one thing. But I will be vlogging myself going to another estate sale very soon. I have not gone yet, but this video was never really, the vlog was just to intro this. So the original idea was to show you what I do with what I found at this estate sale. So you will see that here. I use doilies and I still buy them from the dollar store, as well as if I see vintage or any place else that's a good price. So I do like doilies a lot, but these are a little more intricate than like dollar store ones. They are modern ones, but they are still pretty cool because the design is pretty, I think. It was originally from Home Goods for $6.99. This was marked $2, but everything was 50% off, so I got this for $1. So I thought that was a really good deal. Even if this was at a dollar store, that would be a super good deal. But I didn't want to make this video about doilies. And when I looked at this container, I thought this would be a great way to show you guys that you can use this type of plastic, reuse and repurpose this type of plastic in really cool ways. And anytime I see a large piece of plastic like this, I make sure that I keep it. So there's that front panel as well as the back panel. So today's video is going to be me showing you how I make specimen cards out of this type of plastic. I have a few videos showing you how I make specimen cards and different ways I make them. And now I'm going to show you how I use this to make them. I'm not going to use that plastic though, because there's something else that is probably a lot more common that other people might have more access to that I'm going to use instead. And they are these salad boxes. I'm sure you have come across these. This particular one is from Sprouts. It had arugula in it, and you can find these pretty much at any market, at Costco. This one's from Sprouts, and it just has a lot of clear plastic on it. So I already used some of it, but the lid is good, and this bottom part is good as well, and especially if you can take the sticker off. But if you can't take the sticker off, there's still lots of space here. So we are going to be making a specimen card out of this. This is a printable from, I believe it's called Sunday Fable. I love these types of botanicals. And so let's just get started. I am first going to layer up the patterned piece that I want with a plain piece of cardstock behind it. And then I'm going to cut out lengths of this that will fit the die that I want to use. So I'm using a circular die, and I want to give it some space. So let's say it's going to go to here. To about right there. And you want to make sure that your both pieces are lined up very well so that you have an even card later. And I think I'm going to go ahead and trim this off. And just cut this in half because I'm going to make kind of larger ones. I had cut square pieces out previously, so these will be some cards as well. And I just make sure I keep them stacked in order. Now let's see what the best way. This is going to be too skinny. So I'm going to make some horizontal ones. Let's go to about there. And then let's cut the excess off. And I think I'll leave this big. I think that'll be an interesting one. Yeah. All right. Next thing we're going to do is cut the circles, and you can definitely use a hole punch if you have one, a large hole punch. I'm making it this size, but you can make it any size that will fit your specimen. All right. So let's go ahead and put this piece down. I'm just putting this piece, and I'm moving it away a little bit so you can't see the whole thing, because it doesn't really, I can't roll it all the way through, but you'll see it come out on the other side. So I think for this one, I'm making sure that the cards are even, and I'm picking my least favorite spot. So I think I'm going to choose that spot. And let's go ahead and roll it through. All right, so there we have that. And let's just keep on cranking along. So I'm going to do this one. I think I'm going to use a smaller circle for this one. So let's do it right there. And again, I'm making sure, sorry that you can't see this part, I'm making sure that it's perfectly even. And then we're going to crank it through. I'm going to be working with this piece right here. So we are going to be cutting, we're going to be using the salad box, and I basically need to cut a piece that's just going to go a little bit beyond the circle. So I designate a pair of scissors to cut through anything that's rough or sticky. So these are my sticky and my rough scissors. I'm trying to go as close to the edge as I possibly can. All right. So of course we want this piece that we're going to cut to be the same size, because it just makes your life easier when you move on to the next step. So that's going to give me enough room to sew around. I'm going to cut right there and right there. And we do need 2 pieces. So I'm just going to cut one piece first. I'm seeing if I'm in frame. So that's one piece, and I'm going to make sure it fits. Just make sure there's enough room to sew around. And it does fit, so I'm going to cut a second piece. I probably will not be able to use this, although I like to glue on plastic, so I'm going to keep that actually. Alright, now we are going to, I'm just wiping the marker off. Now we are going to go ahead and take the plain piece. So I like to make sure, because I've made this mistake so many times, to make sure that it's right side up. And then I lift it away, but I leave this here. Because what we're going to do is we're going to place the specimen. We're going to put the plastic where it should lay, which is as centered as possible so you can sew. And then I'm going to take my handy dandy pressed flowers, and let's choose a pretty one. Sometimes I don't choose the prettiest ones. I like the color of this. And I'm just going to place it there and then put this piece over to see how it looks. And I think that looks beautiful. I love the color of this flower. I have found, then I'm going to glue. I have found that in pressing flowers, and I am very much an amateur, but I've noticed that when you put a piece of Kleenex or tissue down, so the flowers can go in between the layers of the Kleenex, it preserves the color better. That's what I've noticed. So I am trying that nowadays, and I'll let you guys know if that's true or not. Actually, I need to trim this down just a little bit because it's bumpy. I really should have noticed that before, because I want to make it the exact same size as this piece right here. All right. Let's go ahead and lay it down there. Actually, this edge needs to be trimmed just a tiny bit as well. All right, then the next thing we're gonna do, let me hold it so there's no glare. The next thing we're gonna do is go and sew around this. I like to sew a square, but sometimes also a circle as well. This I could probably barely get away with a square, so that will be good. But I've already done that with another piece, so I'm gonna bring it over here. I put the two pieces of plastic the way I showed you guys with this one. Just sandwiched the specimen in there. I glued the specimen down, and then I held it in place, went to my sewing machine, and remember that the pattern piece is still off. So I just sewed around like that, and it looks pretty cool. It's not thin like a piece of transparency, which makes it look cool because it just has more like texture to it and more like oomph to it, I guess. But please be careful with your sewing machine. My sewing machine is a really cheap one. It's a Brother sewing machine for probably, I don't even remember how much it was, like $70 something at Walmart, and it sews through anything. The only time that it messed up was when I forgot and I sewed through an envelope clasp, like one of these envelopes. I sewed through this metal piece and it broke the needle, but that was the only time that it ever like broke a needle or anything like that. So when I sewed through these two thick pieces of plastic plus a very thick piece of cardstock, it worked fine. And I credit that to this like Amazonian wonder of a sewing machine. But if you do try this at home, just go really slow and see how your machine does. But so I sewed around, and then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to glue the top piece. So because we are gluing on plastic, I use art glitter glue for the plastic parts. So I'm making, it does dry clear, but I'm still making sure that I stay away from the center. So this is a thicker piece of plastic than I'm used to. So I'm really making sure I put a lot of glue on the plastic, and then I'm going to go ahead and put lots of glue, any other kind of glue, on the paper part. I mean, of course I could continue with the art glitter glue, but I'm choosing to switch glues. And then I'm going to sandwich it together. And then I'm just going to take a piece of plastic, making sure everything is even. And just kind of pressing everything down and making sure it stays in place. Once it's done, I will corner punch it, and I've been thinking that I want to layer over it with some decoupage. So let's see if we can do that. I do need some glue. I need glue and water. Alright, let's see what we can do here. So I'm just gonna really Mickey Mouse it right here. I definitely have decoupage somewhere or Mod Podge somewhere, but I kind of don't use that a lot. So I'm just trying to squeeze out some glue here. We don't need a lot. This is like the most inefficient way to do this. Okay, I'm just squeezing out a little bit of glue. I use 50%, 50-50 to make my own Mod Podge of just regular white glue and water. So this is actually my drinking water. Let me just pour a tiny bit. Am I in camera? Okay. It's gonna need to be a drop, which I don't know if I can do. Okay. Alright, I'm just gonna mix it around. That was definitely too much water. So let me just go ahead and grab my bigger bottle of glue. Alright. So I'm just gonna kind of mix it around. Sometimes I like doing this for Mod Podge better than Mod Podge because this stays matte and it doesn't get sticky the way Mod Podge does. And it's more affordable too. I think I'm going to add some aliens because it's being a little bit thin. So alien will kind of thicken it up. Yeah. Alright. So we are going to, and I am using very thin paper. These are the strips that are left over from making, what is it? Making, I can't think. Making washi tape. Alright, so let me zoom in. So I'm really just kind of laying things down. And I don't want that much. I don't want it to cover up that much. Color is actually running. Okay. I think it's going to look different when it dries. But let's go ahead. I think I'm going to do that to a few more. Since I have my glue here. Okay, I'm going to Mod Podge some on these circle parts. I have this piece here. And then just one more piece. Alright, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those pieces yet, but since I had the glue, I figured I would just do that. But like I was saying before, once this dries, I am going to corner punch it, and that will be that for this specimen card. And I am going to make a batch of them. I'm going to be making these ones that I was cutting before. I'm going to cut up the rest of the paper, and I'll also finish this one. I'm really loving that flower in there. But so I hope that gave you some ideas on how to reuse plastic, like plastic from a salad box, or if you don't have transparency and you've been wanting to make specimen cards, this works good. Just kind of be careful with your sewing machine and test it out before going too fast on a sewing machine. But if you liked this video, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up down below. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos, and thank you so much for watching today, and I will talk to you next time. Bye everyone.